ki khubor ka Batisi TV lawan ra shapi ta ka Orange Nissan Loom so pho near Fire Brigade Shillong
Jan baro ki MLA kila yang ban keren ngolem halor ka jingklat ba kendit jong u MLA ka mau plang constituency uba sentar kelas sun ubala klat no ha ka shipotrik ubanai nailor arhajar arpuwei ki MLA ba pher kila penpau ye ki jing ngau do nong ka ba khrau halor ka jingklat no jong uba sun namar bo udai ubreu ubuju kren ye ki mat ki badan kambha hapo ka yeng dor bar thau ain mat ki le tho ba mentaru ula pen kre bha ban kren halor ka kam ye ka japut bat ka asam hanrei ula klat no penban kila penken mau ye ki kam ki ba uba sun ula no senyang ja ka jella nadu ki por bo ula long u chief engineer jong katrat PHE ka bo ula la ban weng ye ka jing kerdo lingba ka jing la ban pentrai kam bha ye ka greater Shillong water supply scheme kila penpau ye ka jing no senyang jong u hakikam sports kumno ban kentiu ye ka football da ka ba useng ye ki club la jong ba ula la ban penlong ye u khon la jong Eugene lingdo kumu klor ye le kai ba pau hakari baro ka wei u MLA ka NCP u Saleng sangma ula pun sngau lengba u lampang ka yeng dorbar ban Kyrpad ye ki Seng Sainpyrthei ba pher bakin am Pynïeng Kyrtong ban ye khon Pyrshah ki election shiteng samoi la da jia ba ka yeng ka sam jong ba sentar kelas sun kan Pynïeng Kyrtong na yeng ban pendep ye ka samoi trei kam jong u
Honorable Speaker, sir. It is with a very heavy heart that not just me, but I'm sure the entire House is here today. When last week, right after the session began, towards the late afternoon, the sad news came to us of the sudden demise of one of the sitting members of this House, late Shri S.K. Sun. I was asking our Honorable Leader of Opposition, who has been in this House, I think, longer than any other member, that whether there was ever an occasion where a sitting member passed away while the House was in session. And he was telling me, fortunately, that never happened in the past. And this is most probably the first time in the history of this House that a sitting member has passed away while the House was in session. Sir, it pains me, and I'm sure each and every one, to be standing here today and looking at that empty chair of late S.K. Sun, a person who had been with us for the past 3.5 years in this House. And I think, needless to say, every member in this House will remember his contribution to this House and his contribution to his constituency and to the state as a whole, especially with the deliberations that he used to bring to this House. I was even prepared today because there was a special motion that was brought in by late S.K. Sun. And since that motion could not be taken up last time, it was supposed to be continued today. And after the question hour, and after the other 0-hour notice and call attention motions and other short discussions, late S.K. Sun was supposed to speak again today in this House. So it is indeed, sir, very shocking what happened last week. I was sharing with some of our members that when it came to questions, when it came to motions, resolutions, or any kind of debate in this house, I don't think there were many as like him who used to do their homework in detail. In fact, we used to joke with some of our friends that he already had the answers to the questions he was asking. And when he used to ask the questions, he was fully prepared with the reply also. That is the kind of person that he was. And it's a great loss to this house, because of the kind of material, the kind of inputs, and the kind of debate, high level of debate that he used to bring to this house with facts, figures, proper homework documentation. That will be a great loss for the house and for the state as a whole. So I remember him even as a chief engineer. That time I was, I think I'd lost my election. And there were some small works and requests that I had. So I used to go to his office once in a while to meet him. And I remember the kind of respect that he used to give. Even while a meeting is going on, he would cut short his meeting and call me into the room, speak to me, help me out, and resolve the issues that I used to have. That is the kind of personality he had, the kind of person who was always eager, I should say, to help everybody, and would never judge a person based on a position a person had or did not have. And that's the kind of experience that I had with him. And the respect he showed to me during those times is something that I never forgot. And therefore, whenever he used to come to me in recent times, I used to make sure that I would give the same respect to him. I would make sure that the issues that he had were resolved at the earliest for the questions and the issues that he had for his constituency. So therefore, not just as a legislator, sir, but even as a human being, he was a very, very good man and a person who always respected everybody, no matter what position you had or did not have. So therefore, I have very, very fond memories of him. In fact, the last time I met him was just about 15 days back. And I remember him coming to my room. And as usual, he was very prepared. And unlike other individuals maybe who will come and they'll sit down and chit-chat and discuss, I've seen that Basun was a kind of person who would come, talk to the point, finish his work in 2 minutes. If he saw that I had time, he would sit and have a cup of tea. If he saw that I was busy, he would say, my work is done, so I will leave. So that day, the same thing happened. I was very busy. He came in. He just gave me 2-3 issues which he wanted me to take up. I assured him that I will resolve those issues. And within 60 seconds after giving the documents to me, he said, my work is done, so I'll go ahead because you're quite busy. So that was the last memory I had, or our last meeting I had of him. And really, sir, we all, I think, all of us have got very fond memories. I remember last time also when we were having this discussion, the special motion, which he had brought on the boundary and the border issue. He went into the details of all the facts of all the last 25 plus meetings that took place between the chief ministers and the chief secretaries of Assam and Meghalaya. And I was planning that while I replied to his motion, I was planning that I would start off by saying that most of the issues have already facts have been brought out by you already, so my homework has been reduced is what I had planned that I will say today, and of course address the concerns that he had. But unfortunately, that opportunity will not come. And as I said, we all are very shocked with the news that came in. At this point in time, I'm sure that the people of his constituency, his family members, his friends, all must be shocked and saddened by what happened in such a short time. Nobody have expected it. I would like to express my deepest condolences to his family members, especially his wife and his children, and also to his constituency people who must be missing him, a person who has been very, very committed to his constituency and to his people. And therefore, it's a great loss for not just his family, not just for this house, but also for his constituency people, sir. Therefore, I'm sure many of our friends today will want to pay their respects to him, would want to participate in this. So I will not prolong my speech here. I once again express my condolences, sir, to the bereaved family members. And I pray to Almighty that He may give strength to the family members especially, and all these friends, so that they can bear this great loss that they've had, sir. With these few words, sir, I would resume my seat. Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I also join the Leader of the House in condoling the untimely, unexpected demise of one of our dear colleagues of this August House, late S.K. Soon. How strange life is. It's very difficult to reconcile, because as human, sometimes it's beyond our power of comprehension as to how one can have so much of element of surprises in the course of the life of a person. Having said this, Mr. Speaker, sir, it's beyond our control, and we have lost one of our dearest colleagues. How painful it has been for the electorates and the family members, we can easily understand. And as colleagues of this August House, to have one of our members who suddenly leaves us during the time of session, yes, it's unprecedented. Therefore, with heavy heart, I join the Leader of the House in conveying our deepest condolences to the wife and children of late Soon, and also to all the loved ones of the family, and all those who are associated with him, particularly the electorates. I have known him for a very, very long time, ever since I got elected in 1993. The first time that I met him was when I went to Mauplang and wanted to see the intake point of the Greater Shillong Water Supply Scheme. And immediately as I reached, he promptly appeared there. Beautifully maintained assets. I think all our friends will agree that it is one of the assets which has been maintained so appropriately, reflecting the asset as an asset of a government. Because Elsewhere, we will see that government assets are the most dilapidated. And anybody can actually recognize a government asset by looking at the look of the assets. But Mauplang, the assets created is very different, including the location. So he was there. That's the first time I met him. And subsequently, as during the innings of my political career, we had to, on a number of occasions, meet during the course of our discussions, official reviews. I could see him as to how he was focused on the work that was assigned to him. And one thing I observed was that whenever an issue was brought before him, even while he was occupying the office of the chief engineer, he would personally assure that he will go to the spot, he will go to the site and see as to how things should be corrected. It was also one of his qualities that whenever the department is asked to submit proposals, he would personally ensure that the DPRs are in order, that the DPRs don't have to be returned to the department because of any deficiency. And that was particularly when a project has to be posted before Government of India for any consideration of sanction. He would personally assure, he will come and tell that he has personally looked at the whole DPR and there is no chance of the scheme being sent back with any queries. So that was the kind of focus that even as an officer, late S.K. Soon had. It's been a privilege to have him as member of this August House, with his long innings of experience as an officer, the wealth of experience in administration, of very crucial, important department, public health engineering. And with the same zeal and passion, he took up issues here. We have all been a witness to that. Whenever he articulated issues on the matters that has been tabled by him in this August House, I would keenly listen to him. And my observation was that he would make submissions only on issues which is not just important for his constituency, but for larger good of the people as a whole. As a politician, I thought with the background of an officer, he might be a different politician. We have seen many officers joining politics and saying goodbye to politics because it's one of the toughest jobs. I was presuming and assuming at the initial stage that many officers have joined politics and have ultimately had disastrous career in politics. But as we saw late S.K. Soon, we knew that he was going to be in this whole public service for a very long time. It is irony that his life has been cut short and he is no longer with us. I have always had the privilege to listen to him whenever he came up with issues, suggesting that some issues may be taken up in the larger good of the people and the state. In spite of him being in the ruling, he would engage, he would share, and also suggest on a number of critical issues as to how we can collectively address those concerns of the people. The passion, the commitment, the dedication with which he has worked has definitely made a mark in the history of Meghalaya. Late S.K. Soon will be remembered for a long time, not only by the electorates who have elected him, but will be remembered by all of us for a long, long time. And I'm sure it must be really a difficult time for the electorates and the family. My prayers are for the family, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I convey our heartfelt condolences through you once again to the members of the Pyrshah family and to the electorates of the constituency, to his loved ones and to the relatives. And I conclude by praying that the Almighty God in heaven shall provide the strength, the solace and fortitude to the members of the family. And I sincerely pray that the departed soul of late S.K. Sun remain in an eternal peace. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, sir, I resume my seat.
Deputy CM, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I also would like to join with the Leader of the House as well as the Leader of Opposition in sharing my grief and sorrow with the sudden demise of our colleague, whom we used to fondly call him Ba Deng Sun. Sir, if I recall correctly, the term of 2018 is very unfortunate to this August House. 5 honorable members we lost with a span of 3.5 years. And during my tenure as MLA, I think this is the first time it ever happened. So, though, humanly speaking, there is no conclusion, but spiritually speaking, I think we should think of, and I'm sure Almighty will ultimately be with all the members of this August House till the end of this term. Sir, I received the saddest information at around 5:30 when I was out of station, when I was on the way back to Delhi. I received a call that Ba Deng S.K. Sun was no more. Still, I did not believe. Then after some times, Honorable Chief Minister, he called me up again and he said, we lost our friends. I remember before he died, I think 12 days back, he came to my room and we discussed few important issues relating to the developmental activities concerning to his constituency. And thereafter I asked him, Ba Deng, have you given vaccination? He smiled, he looked at me and he said, no, Ba, I have not. So I requested, can you please go and give your vaccination? He said, yes, very soon I'm going to do that. But the 10th evening, I was really shocked. And not only that, the 10th evening, I asked my DHS to personally go there because the way he died, it was symptomatic. So when the report came out after a few hours, unfortunately, he was declared dead due to COVID-19. Sir, this is beyond our control, beyond our thoughts. We have really lost him. And not only that, in fact, Basun, I had an opportunity to associate with him when I was looking after PhD department for a long, long time. I've seen how he works. He hardly sleeps. And I would like to place on record, when you go back to the history of Greater Shillong Water Supply Scheme, I should say it was because of him, Greater Shillong Water Supply Scheme is functioning well till today. He was the master brain. He never slept that time. He has contributed a lot in sports sectors. He has his own team promoting our talented youths, and not only in sports, socially, he has contributed a lot to the state and especially to his area. That's why 2018 he won. He was elected as the member of this August House. So, sir, I don't want to prolong much. I would like to share my grief, my sorrow, my deepest condolences goes to the bereaved family, to his wife, his children, and to his people of constituency. And I'm sure God knows better. Maybe he will bring in again somebody to replace Baden soon. So, sir, with these few words, I pray that God will give him eternal peace forever. With these few words, sir, I resume my seat.
Honorable Speaker, sir, I also rise to pay my condolences along with the Leader of the House, the Leader of the Opposition, the Deputy Chief Minister, and other members will participate in paying our respects. It is indeed very sad that we had to hear the news of the passing away of Basun, late Sun. I recall in the year 2003, when I was first elected to this House, and being an inhabitant Traishnong of Umpling village, my first job was to ensure, as an MLA, was to get them good drinking water supply. I then called Basun, I think he was executive engineer at that time, and I told him, Basun, we require water for our village in Umpling. And I said, the present system we have there is very dilapidated and insufficient. You won't believe, sir. He came himself personally and ensured that we got the scheme. It was a deep tube well system because we don't get the greater water supply scheme to date in that area. And now we have sufficient water in that village. It's thanks to him. But apparently he seems to be helping all the other MLAs also. So we'll definitely miss him as an officer and as a politician. His deliberations and discussions in this house, I remember I used to turn around and listen to him very carefully. With so much of rich experience, we all benefited from that. And like the Honorable Deputy CM has said also, he was a very avid footballer and a good footballer at that, subsequently having his own football team, etc. In day before yesterday, when the Shillong Sports Association held a condolence meeting, I think from all the people in Meghalaya, they are the saddest people today, because he had contributed tremendously to bring up the Shillong Sports Association. And in fact, he had already kept a scheme for almost 2 crores to renovate the stadium and the field at Polo Grounds. This was his contribution even to sports. Yes, sir, we have lost him and we'll miss him. But at the same time, I pray to the Almighty that his family will have the strength to bear this loss. His family will have the strength to bear this loss. And I pray that his soul rests in eternal peace. Thank you.
I would like to join hand along with the leader of the House and leader of the oppositions, and along with the member of the Argos House, in condoling for SK Shun for journeying ahead of before us to heavenly abode. When we got news, it was so shocking for each and every one of us. Every members of this Argos House has spoken in a conciliatory tone, warm tone, in condoling the demise of SK Shun about his public discourse, uncontested condescent, distorting the belief of others, human and acceptable. We know that uncertainty, threats, and incidences occurred in his life already. And it can happen to us, any one of us, which is unforeseen and uninforming. SK Shun has given us a panorama. After hearing all the speeches, condoling messages from each and every one of us, we could see that he has given us a panorama to each and every one of the MLA by making himself available for any kind of discussion, any kind of suggestions, or any kind of advice that he would like to give. As a respect and gratitude, I would like to urge this Argos House that if any of the member from the SK Shun happens to contest in the future in the by-election, I would like to request all the political parties to support his family by not giving a candidate on their own. You see, we, as a Christian, we believe prayer will be hard, but the good deed will be blessed. So, through you, Mr. Speaker, sir, we know that he was precise and to the point, and whenever he brought any kind of issues to the House, he was quite serious, and he used to, be very serious about his debate. So, through you, Mr. Speaker, sir, we remember, definitely we will be missing him. He has already created a vacuum in the House, not only the House, in his family and in his own constituency also, Mr. Speaker, sir. So, through you, Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to send my condolences to his bereaved family and request all the party members, before I resume my seat, not to give a candidate against his family, if his family happens to, put up a candidate that would send a better condolence message. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.